So our topic for today is the reverse of anaerobic respiration. It's gonna be aerobic respiration. Okay, so this is gonna be cellular respiration. This is the process in which all living organisms survive. Okay, to have life here on Earth. Okay, because this is respiration. Meaning, you get the point? Things like that, and it also relates to the energy sources, something like that, in order for us to behave properly, to act properly, something like that. It's all about combination like that. So it's very clear that it links to oxygen gas, right? And some of the energy sources. I'll be able to explain why. Okay? So it's gonna be, you need only to have basic knowledge in biology and a combination of chemistry and then also a little bit of medical science, shall I say, or pure science. Okay? So let's do now this. This is not very lengthy, okay, but a little bit more detailed compared to the anaerobic respiration. Okay, guys? Okay. So like that. Okay, this is gonna be aerobic respiration. Yes, cellular respiration. Okay. Cellular respiration. Okay. Respiration. Okay, like that. Okay, so let's do the investigating the terminology first before going farther. Hinira akong voice. Okay. Katugon akong voice, right? Maganda ka. Okay. Mga palang. Shoutouts ako mga viewers. Okay. So we have aerobic, meaning the presence of air or oxygen. Okay. Cellular meaning the cell. Okay. Okay, the cells. Okay, and the respiratory. Okay, so you know a cell. You remember the cell biology. It composed of nucleus, like that, ribosomes. Okay, mitochondria. Okay, if you remember in biology, for us we studied biology second year high school. Okay, like that. There's a lot there, right? Mitochondria, the endoplasmic membrane, like that, the reticulum, like that. Okay, the cell membrane, the parts of the cells. That is a separate part of. When we study biochemistry, there's a special topic of that. That is cell biology. Okay, there's also special topic with regards to metabolism, like that, cell biology. Okay. The botany, the zoology, something like that, and also the microbiology. Is the point? I'm not sure. Okay, then respiration is very easy. It talks about the inhalation, exhalation. Inhalation, oxygen gas; exhalation, carbon dioxide. Okay, and then more on the concerned anatomy is the respiratory system, the lung. Okay? That's why respira, coming from respiratory system. Okay? Get the point? So we had already investigated the terminology, per terminology. Now we go to the purpose and objective of aerobic cellular respiration. Again, this is for our survival, to live in this planet Earth. Without this process, then all people or all living organisms will die. To the point, because we are the highest form of living organism, the human being, we are included in that living organisms. Okay? In our ecology. Right? Or the environment. Ganon. Okay? So it's very clear. Oh my gosh, I love also to vlog environmental science. Really, because this is my master's study in University of San Carlos, Talamban, but I did not finish. Okay? Like that. I really love the environmental ozone. Okay, macro spectrum. Okay? Like that. Because we're living in the environment, then we need to know also what's happening in the environment, right? Okay, where's my ano? Where's my ano? Hello. Okay? So like this. Now we will start with respiration always talks about glycolysis. Meaning, it starts with the stored house of all the glucoses in the parts of the living organism, which is the glycogen. Here, glycogen. Okay, glycogen. This is a stored house of glucoses, multiple of glucoses that gives us energy. Okay, it will go here, they produce glucose like that. Okay, glucose. Glucose representative chemical formula is 6 atoms carbon, 12 atoms hydrogen, and 6 atoms of oxygen. And then the sugar family, under the saccharides family, or shall we say carbohydrates species, is gonna be CH2O. Okay, empirical formula, because we don't need to memorize everything, the numbers of the atoms of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. We need to have mechanism how to understand it well by understanding the empirical formula. By having the knowledge of the empirical formula, then we can get the chemical formula. Okay? Something like that in our general lecture. Something. Hi, shout out to Mama Maricel Cabo for watching. Okay. So, we'll be dealing here with the 6 atoms carbon. So, this is gonna be the hexoses family. Okay, or hexose family. Okay, our identification in sugar, it will end with O-S-E. For example, triose, diose, pentose, hexose, ribose, like that. Those are sugars, ESE. Okay? An empirical formula CH2O. Because sometimes the problem, the question, for example, it will say, what family that contains 6 atoms carbon? 6. And then that's the only question. You will substitute that here, the 6, because this is N, the number of atoms, Then you will answer also 6, 2 times N, then 2 times 6, then 6. So 6, 12, 6 is gonna be glucose. Okay? C6 is 12O6. Okay? In this study of cellular respiration, guys, we are referring specifically to the glucoses. We are not referring to the isomers, something like that, because glucose and fructose have the same chemical formula. Get the point? The sugar you will find in the fruits. Also, 6 atoms of carbon, 12 atoms of hydrogen, and also 6 atoms of oxygen. But this is very special. Glucose talaga siya, not the fructose. Okay, not even the galactose. Because galactose, fructose, and glucose are monosaccharides and isomers with each other, meaning the same chemical formula, but their application and functions and chemical and physical properties may be different. Somewhat have the same commonalities or similarities, but will differ in some instances. Okay, like that. So these are monosaccharides. We have also the disaccharides, or we have the lactose, maltose, like that, and the rest of the sugar family. Okay, and then we will come up to the, oh my gosh, the most abundant sugar in the planet Earth. It's gonna be the cellulose. Okay, see, cellulose ends also with OSE. But this cellulose is not mentioned very well in chemistry because it's highly more on the biochemistry and the biology. Okay, see, cellulose, plenty of sugars, that's why we call that, found in the plants and trees, that's why we call that the most abundant organic compound in the planet Earth. Okay, imagine there's a lot also of glucoses, really, right? In the plants, in the trees, blah, 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 so and so. Okay, so cellulose, yung answer niya, ang higayon na. Okay? So we have to say, cellulose is a macromolecule of glucoses. Okay, you can a total of approximation of 100 billion tons, something like that, based on the research. Okay, not really that exact, but some estimation. Okay, to the point, the cellulose shot. Okay, so go back here with our flow chart. Okay, you may ask me also where that glucose comes from. Actually, that is coming also from photosynthesis, things like that. Okay, so that's why we need to have stock knowledge. Photosynthesis is discussed in our elementary science, right? And we need to accumulate that in our brain cells. Okay, so that we will need that in the higher processes in science. Okay, so that's why I'll be explaining here. Okay. Okay, this is the fundamental life processes and cycle will always basis aerobic cellular respiration. Okay, this oxygen gas on aerobic laro kayo. Okay, to the point. After glucose, okay, oh my gosh, it will be converted into, okay, the uncommon, uncommon salt, the pyruvate. Pyruvate. Diba? Not familiar? This is only familiar to biologists, chemists, not so with chemists, biochemists, something like that, and the medical science students. Okay, the pharmacy, the med tech, the OT, occupational therapy, the physical therapists, like that, and the science, the medical science that has a specialization. Okay, studied the bones, studied the teeth, the dentist, like that, neurology, all about medical science. They are familiar with this kind of chemical. But I think pharmacists are expert. Okay, because they are really more on chemical substances, guys, more than chemists and chemical engineers. I see their studying, even though I am not a pharmacist, I see their studying a lot of very, very complicated higher chemistry talaga siya, guys. More on organic, because they are dealing with pharmaceutical products and medicines. Okay, highly organic, so much chemical formulas there. Oh my gosh. So maning-mani na kayo sa mga pharmacists, yung mga chemical, structuring or whatever. Okay, so the formula of pyruvate is gonna be 3 atoms of carbon, 4 atoms of hydrogen, and 3 atoms of oxygen. Okay. See, things like that. Your clue and technique is 3 atoms of carbon are the same also with the atoms of oxygen. Okay? This is pyruvate. Ganun mga palabakang hitan. Okay? Then, it will produce here lactate. Okay? This is what we call as side reactions. It will normally not go to the, the proper reactions for intended product, but it will have a side reactions to produce another byproducts, like blah, 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 so and so. Okay, so it will not participate in the whole process of your chemical reactions or in your flowchart, but it will be yielding another product there. Okay, like that. So the formula of lactate is gonna be 6 atoms of carbon, 4 atoms of hydrogen, and 6 atoms of oxygen. It's gonna be like that, right? So you should, if you are really loving chemistry, then your minds will be full of chemicals and chemical formulas, and also the molecular weights, atomic weight, okay, something like that. Get the point? So we have also after this, it will go to the here. This is not also familiar. Okay, this is acetyl CoA. Okay, we mean of acetyl based on organic chemistry. What do we mean by this acetyl? So we can remember the acetaldehyde, like that. We can remember also the acetic acid, which is the vinegar. So what do we mean by aceti? Aceti. So this is a functional group, right? So aceti, like that. Okay, it's gonna be yielding two atoms of carbon. Okay, as you can notice the formula of acetic acid. You know acetic acid, it will become an acetyl if you will cut off the chain and branch it out without any reaction of the chemicals acetyl. Okay, meaning cut off. And then you can add any chemicals there during the chemical reaction, like alkyl, acetyl, hydroxyl, like that. Okay, so that's we change only with L. So this is coming from acetyl. So we need acetic acid. Okay? An acetyl, guys, normally identification is two atoms of carbon. Okay? If we mean about acetyl. Okay, so we need to say acetone also have two atoms of carbon. Wait. Yep, it's gonna be like, oh my gosh. Okay, acetone. Yes, two carbon atoms. Methyl, part methyl, like that. Okay? It's gonna be like that. So, this is acetic acid, see? Check the formula. So 2 atoms of carbon, 3 atoms of hydrogen, and 2 atoms of oxygen. So this is the same like it's in acetate here. But here, only words. Okay, because we are not dealing with acetic acid. I only emphasize that acetyl normally mean 2 atoms of carbon. Okay? And then what is CO? Okay? And what is A? A only is a coding of that particular energy source. Okay, A. And then CO is the coenzyme. Okay, meaning to speed up the rate of your biochemical reaction. Because this is biochemistry. Okay, get the point? It's gonna be like that. So after acetyl CoA, so you need to know after that it will go to the like a cycle, Krebs cycle. Okay. I don't remember if this is discussed in our elementary, in high school, but I think standard schools are discussing this. Not to discriminate public schools, but I think they are discussing this, the private schools. I'm not telling that public schools are not equipped with resources, but they are more on, higher excellent quality education. Okay? The private schools, okay? Because they have so many resources. Okay, Krebs cycles. Okay, but there's also a lot of, smart people, smart students in public, ha? Okay, what I mean lang, so many updated resources ang mga private schools compared to the public schools. Okay? That's what I mean. Like that. Okay, muna siya mahitabulan ng higayon na. Okay. And then after that, okay, we go to the electron transport chain. O, diba? Like that. Electron transport chain. So what are being transferred? It is the energy, right? Na po kaya reaction dari ari mga palangga So plus oxygen here. Okay? Like that. So the oxygen here will be also here. So understood lagi siya oxygen here sa primerohan because aerobic man siya, guys. Okay? Like that. And then the last stage will be ATC, electron transport, okay, chain, and then it will do again product, give again carbon dioxide plus water. So it's just a cycle plus reactive oxygen species na talaga siya. Okay? So magbalik-balik ito na siya, guys. Magbalik na po siya CO2 is 2 ulit. Photosynthesis na food. Okay? You get the point? Ganon. So you cannot create the energy sources if you don't have the pyruvate here. Pyruvate center siya, guys. Oh, okay, ganon. Now let's discuss one by one. So, glucose. Glucose is the basic unit of carbohydrates. Like that. Pyruvate. Pyruvate is the basic salt to produce lactate and chemical biochemical processes in the cellular respiration. Okay? Like that. Lactate is the basis of how healthy a person is. Okay? Like that. You get the point? Because if you have higher lactate level, then meaning to say you are sick. Because the oxygen atoms will be consumed and eaten up by this lactate. So, meaning to say you have at least less than 2 milligrams per liter of lactate. Means too much lactate, it will steal and eaten up all your oxygen in your system. That's why very dangerous this lactate. That's why the doctor will always test this or the medical technology. They may not tell you because this is not a common test. Just like the dialysis, that's very popular, like that. The blood test for hemoglobin, like that, okay? the red blood cells, right? And then for the urine, for the certain, bilirubin protein, like that, identification that if your kidney is malfunctioning, something like that, and the rest of the protein, the creatinine also, and the rest of the test, the cholesterol level testing, the sugar. So it will not be mentioned because this is not common testing. This is highly specialized, okay? Like the lactate test. Okay, now after that one, we have the acetyl CoA. The function of the acetyl CoA is really to transfer the acetyl group, okay, to be delivered, to be used in your Krebs cycle here. Krebs cycle meaning guys, a lot of citric acid cycle. Ano man sa Sotero, ay nung dagang makaling citric acid, uy, sa manitabo. Ano rin ka? Ano citric acid, nawala rin ascorbic acid. Ano rin ka? Because citric acid is the basis of all citrus fruits. Okay? Citrus fruits contains naturally citric acid, as I mentioned over and over and again. It will be just converted to the ascorbic acid later on. Like that. Okay, so citric acid ang ditudlo ninyo guys, di ba? 6 atoms of carbon, 8 atoms of hydrogen, and 7 atoms of oxygen. So this is our citric acid cycle here in the Krebs cycle. Meaning also, they will give ascorbic acid there or vitamin C later on. Okay? But ang original yun ang citric acid mo. Pinagitawag na siya citrus fruits from the term citric. Okay? Citrus, citric, like that. Okay? What else? Permanganose, permanganate, hydrochloros, hydrochloric, things like that in chemistry. Meaning the citrus is not yet really neutralized. The number of charge is still small, and then it will be neutralized into a solution or aqueous solution or whatever. It will become a positive 3 something. That's why it will become citric. Adding IC, the chemical formula. That's the rule of chemistry, right? OUS and IC. OUS for the smaller number of charge, IC for the larger number of charge. Diba? Ganon. To the point. So, just like in the preservatives, right? The carcinogen from the nitrates preservatives of the hot dog, like the meat, the bacon, the corned beef, diba? There are carcinogens there that can cause cancer. You get the point? So, we have there nitrous acid responsible for the production of your nitrosamines. Okay? So, we have HNO2 like that. HNO2 or nitrous acid plus nitrites will become your carcinogen nitrosamine found in your processed foods that can cause cancer. Okay? Ganon. So, nitrous man siya. So, dili siya nitric. Nitrous, nitric. So, nitric will not participate. It's nitrous. Okay? Get the point. So, ako lang emphasize when to use ang OUS and IC. Okay? Get the point? Ganon. Citric acid cycle. Here sa Krebs cycle. Ganon. So, like that. If the question in the future will say, what acids specifically contribute or participate in the Krebs cycle? Daog na yun, citric acid din mo answer ana sa theory. Okay? Especially in the board examination, science quiz bowl, chemistry quiz bowl, like that. Ay mo pang mitaglaing acid. Citric acid doon na siya. In Krebs cycle, like that, what is the primary acid participated? Like that. The answer will be, bisag wala yung choices mo, answer lang dito. Citric acid. Ganon. Kibaw naman ka, citric acid ang okay, now after that we go to the electron transport chain. So may transfer. Okay, of course it will transfer the energy. Okay, by means of electron carriers. Electron carriers. Okay, so mean to say you will function this one as like a battery in your like a battery, and then it will power. Okay, it will give power to the various processes in the cells. Okay, so power meaning energy, right? So the cells will be activated because of the power. It will give energy, and that is the last step. Ganon. Sa atong cycle sa cellular respiration. Ganda yan. So if the examination official will say, draw a flow chart is a question 50%, 50 points. Okay, illustrate the whole process of cellular respiration and then explain step by step like that, blah, 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 so and so. Yung tarungon, di ba? Ganun ako mas course is a. Ganon. At the point, ano siya? After it is guys, it will produce again carbon dioxide plus water, in which these are the raw materials again and precursors again to get the energy source going back to photosynthesis. Okay, because photosynthesis is the starting point of human survival. Okay, without photosynthesis, we don't have anything. We cannot eat and all will die. Okay, I will explain the photosynthesis. Okay, so I'm sure you have another product here. So let's go back to photosynthesis. Any question for the chemical formulation? And then if you have time, you should memorize this, ha? Mga students, undergraduate students na wala pang mag-graduate sa, for example, BS Pharmacy, BS Chemistry, BS Chemical Engineering, or any related health sciences courses or pure sciences courses na link siya sa science. Okay, generally. Ay lang po focus na po mga accountancy, kapag mga College of Arts and Sciences, kayo hindi mo na yung linya. Okay? But kung maminaw mo, okay na siya po. It will be highly appreciated. Okay? Okay, wala naman ito yung process ang kwarta-kwarta. Compute naman lang ito. O, debit, entry, debit, credit. Ano naman ito? I-balance din mo ang sheet, ang spreadsheet. Okay? Yeah. Plus, minus. Ano naman? Accountancy, wala naman yung mga equation. Their math is all about operations. Plus, minus, divide, like that. Ang makalipog lang nila ang analysis, how to do the... I don't have knowledge in basic accountancy, but that's what I've understand based on my magbasa-basa ko. Debit, credit, debit. Kung sila spreadsheet like that, and there's a problem solving, you will analyze that one. So that is the most difficult part during the analysis. That's why so many also accounting students will fail in the board examination of accountancy. Okay? Because the board exam also is very difficult because they have, I think, 7 subjects, 7 coverage. In engineering, only 3, right? But the accountancy have 7. I'm not sure now, they will reduce, but 7 coverage. Di ba 7 coverage? But all about, may anak na siya, like mga equation, like that, okay? At the point, kung ito mahiligit tambang-tambang, makadaog siya ito. Kung may kang tambang-tambang, may kang model analyzer ba? Okay? Get the point? Thank you so much for Maricel Cabral for watching. Emil Damanapin for watching also. O, diba? Malaki mga fans, kahigayo na. Okay? Ganon. So, ayaw ka sa photosynthesis, guys, ha? Now, assuming that all living organism, mag-wonder man good mo guys, ano ang raw material CO2, no? Dapat ang raw material is oxygen. CO2 siya kay mo-release mag CO2 ang living organisms. Okay? Upon releasing the CO2 into the environment, like that it will go back to the, the environment of CO2 and then plus water. Okay? The water here would not necessarily mean that the water, drinking water like that. It could be the rain, the river, the creek, the ocean, the lake, like that, or any sources of water. It could be only the moisture, like that. To the point, not necessarily the literal water that we drink. Okay? To the point. So CO2 plus H2O is equal to, so saan mo predicts the product ani? So makanong na ka combustion no? Combustion, all combustion process, marami product siya. Okay? You get the point? So, this is the reverse of combustion process. So, but this is photosynthesis, okay? Now, we need to have knowledge that this is gonna be the conversion of generally light energy from the sun to produce chemical energy, which is the energy source. Chemical energy. What are you going to energy to chemical energy? Okay, so muna niya akong glucose from carbohydrates. Okay, muna mag-give na to energy. Okay, plus na siya sa light. Okay, light ang sun. Okay, ganoon. Now guys, and then what is the most important part here that you need to understand the relevance of the plants, trees, like that, okay, or any, vegetation. Vegetation is all types of plants, whether it can be eaten or not, okay, vegetation like that, okay, like that. But plants are the most common, right? So now, in order we can give the product of the glucoses, we need to understand the green pigment chlorophyll. Green pigment chlorophyll, an organic compound, okay, that will also react with the light of the sun. So plus chlorophyll, gano'n chupa-chucho, diba? Plus chlorophyll, gano'n. What else? Plus chlorophyll. What is the most popular? Not really that popular. Popular element have the sun. The Proxima Centauri we have, the biggest star. Sun is a biggest star in the universe. Okay? You get the point? Naman siya. That is phosphorus. Okay? Sun have phosphorus. Okay? Not only helium and hydrogen. Contains phosphorus naturally. Okay? So kung contains siya phosphorus, so klaro kayo na siya oxidative phosphorylation process na mo add up diri sa imong additive sa light, sa chlorophyll. Yeah. Oxidative, ganun sa chuchu, diba? Why oxidative? Because it will yield a lot of oxygen in your product. Okay? So this is the adjective referring to your phosphorylation. Okay? Phosphorylation. Phosphoryl. So phosphoryl, add only ATION because this is a process. Diba? Usually process in English ends in TION. For example, oxidation, evaporation, condensation, mabuang ka sa mga solution, puting daghana. So apel po na siya ang phosphorylation. Diba? Okay. So, may oxidation, phosphorylation, so nana siya phosphorus coming from the sun. Okay? Una pa siya mo-produce glucose or carbohydrates, okay, and then plus oxygen gas. Kanang oxygen natong gi-breathe. Okay? So binasag ang kanang oxygen sa Sotero kanang gihatag sa Ginoo, gi-create ni Lord God with us na naka 79% by volume of nitrogen. I'm talking with ideality, ideal condition. I'm not talking with the present situation. Okay, and then the oxygen gas will be 21%. Because if we are talking for the present condition, our oxygen gas is no longer 21% because of the contaminant gases. Okay, that will try to steal the atoms of the 21% oxygen in our atmosphere. That's why it will become 20.9, 20.8, 20.7, 20.6 because that is coming from the oxygen released by the power plant industries, nuclear power plant, the cars will release carbon monoxide, the car. Okay, so that their oxygen there will react to the oxygen into the atmosphere. So upon reacting, it will eat up and consume the normal oxygen that the God gave to us. That's why it will not become 21% already perfect. Na siya mga point something. Okay, and the such time deficient siya if you are going into the confined space. The more it will be confined, then the oxygen will be a little bit reduced and consumed. So, maabot siya 19.5, like that, 20.20, something like that. Okay? So, i-assume na ito idea. So 21% of oxygen and 79% of nitrogen. So this oxygen here, manufactured, is not a coming oxygen in the atmosphere. This is the oxygen yielded by this reaction photosynthesis. Lain pa ditong oxygen sa atmosphere. Di ba? We are abundant with oxygen. That's why I told you, oxygen is the most abundant element in the planet Earth. Okay? Di mo dyan ko kalimutan na kinigawas na siya sa examination. Okay, you get the point. Ipapilit ito. Glum is the most abundant element in the planet Earth. A, hydrogen. B, ganun siya, silicon. C, helium, ganun. D, nitrogen. E, none of the above. So, ang answer para kay oxygen, reactive man siya. Okay? So, ensure kayo si oxygen. Bigaon kayo si oxygen, guys, ha? Pwerte ang igata. Okay, miski sa partner ani. Okay, kimupares mo siya sa tanan diri sa mga metals. Oxidize din siya, bigaon kayo si oxygen, reactive. Okay? You get the point? Like that. So, ano siya itong product? Balance na yung kadaog na yun. But before that, before we do the balancing of the chemical equation, nakakaloka. Diba? Balance jud. Okay? Ato sa i-troubleshoot ang mga formula. Okay? Then memorize the formula, guys, ha? Okay? Subtle lang yun siya. Okay, ganon. Okay, atong iyag-iyag diri ari ang formula. So, we are dealing with chlorophyll. Right? So, what is really a chlorophyll? It's the green pigment that is the main source of energy. And then, you know, it will create the stomata in the green leaf. This is a little bit of spores of the green leaf to absorb the chemical reactions of this light water, like that stomata, something like that, the green pigment of your plants. And then after that, you can also find there the amylose, like that. Too much. If you try to, you know, if you try to break down the, you know, the leaf, okay? Yan, ato dito makuha yung mga starch, ganon, di ba? You get the point. Dito tayo deal ato kay marami naman to. Okay, you get the point. And then, ang formula sa atong chlorophyll is this. Okay. And then this is also one story that I will try to tell you. There is magic in chlorophyll. So, why there is magic in chlorophyll, and I will teach you. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Marcel Cabral. Okay, thank you po. Chlorophyll. We do D. Chlorophyll. Supposedly you will found chloro, right? Expected this, there is chlorine. Right? But actually there's no chlorine. Because in chemicals or chemistry, normally if the term will be like that, it will be also present in the chemical formula. A lot, except to this chlorophyll. There's no chlorine in this chemical formula. But the word is chloro. Just like chloroform, there's chlorine, like that, okay? Chlorodiethylene, there's a chlorine, like that. If there's chloro term, okay? But here, nothing. Right? Even if the word is chloro. Okay? So, we have carbon. Taas ka siya of atoms. Kaya siya may original source din siya sa tanan. So, 55 atoms of carbon. Okay? Hydrogen, oh my gosh, nakakaloka. 72. Okay, 72 atoms of hydrogen. Okay, nakuha na siya mga palangga ko, ha? Nitrogen yung okay? 4, 5. And then there's a magnesium. Wow! Di ba imagine ang magnesium, may kalit na siya tunga sa, makalingaw, di ba? May kalit na siya tunga sa chlorine. Uy, di ba nagkita ng magnesium sulfate? Uy, kalit talaga na siya. Because that is given by God naturally. Okay? And then malibo ka, mawala na siya sa kuan, guys. Nagpaproduce sa energy, mawala ng kalit. Pero buto nga ng kalit sa prutas. Na magic ya po, no? Kinama siya sa banana. Sa mga citrus, nunala siya, pero hindi ka kuanin mo sa reaction. Dili mo participate ang magnesium. Dili ba sa chemical equation? Nag-ingon na, nawa din ang magnesium, sir. Hindi ka bungkag na niya sa producing products. Okay? Mubalik siya sa iyang atmosphere. Pinadawato na sa mga dahon dito sa mga prutas. Muna ang banana, kusuko siya mukhawat ng magnesium. Banana. Ang banana kay rich in magnesium na siya. Muna, ang magnesium man nagikan sa chlorophyll. Na dili ko participate sa atong photosynthesis. Hindi mo na kailangan ng magnesium diri pag-produce mo sa energy source. Kabantay ka, di ba? Mag-produce siya ng glucose. Then kani siya, gamiton man po na siya dito sa kuan, di ba? Ang glucose kung gidiscuss ninyo in the, cellular respiration as our raw material there, mag-produce na siya ng ATP. Okay, ang formula sa ATP, wa may magnesium. Tukia o wala. Ang formula sa ATP, ano ba siya? 10 atoms of carbon, 16 atoms of hydrogen, ganun. Nitrogen is 5, and oxygen is 13. And then the phosphorus is 3. Na ay phosphorus nagpabilin because of the oxidative phosphorylation. Nagihatag sa adlaw. Okay? Sa ito pa, phosphorus, muhatag yun na siya. Importanteng mineral sa atong lawa sa bone. Ang nakalifin siya sa both ang phosphorus and magnesium for the bone health. Bone health to avoid, including also the calcium. Okay? Phosphorus, calcium, and magnesium. Okay? And also the special participation of vitamin D. Because normally, if there's no vitamin D, there's no calcium absorption, there's no mineral absorption. Okay, sinabi siya vitamin D. Mukuyog yun na siya sa calcium. Kanawa mga gatas na vitamin D, nasa siya calcium. Okay, you got the point? So muna siya for bone health. What is the difference with phosphorus and magnesium? Magnesium will not participate in the chemical reaction. It will go back to the atmosphere. It will be received from the plants, animals, trees, like so and so. Okay? But the phosphorus coming from the sun will participate in the chemical reaction in your photosynthesis until your cellular respiration, until go to the last stage of your chemical reaction, which is the electron transport, okay, chain. Ganon. So that it will also give us energy to power all the cells of all living organisms. Ganon. Okay? So, dili kayo mabuhi kung wala tayong mga process ng ATC. Kaya katong electrons dito, may carrier man siya to give power. Iyang ibit-bito ng energy, ang enerhiya. Nandikan atong i-discuss ato dito. O diba? So, ano na siya, hindi na siya bypass ha, follow na siya kanan sa steps. What is the step number 3 in aerobic cellular respiration? A, B, multiple choice question. Imagine natin manaan, this is in particular order or chronological order. Okay? During flowchart, it will not be changeable. This will not be not particular order, this is particular order. Okay, you get the point. So we have the chlorophyll. Oh, sige. Si chlorophyll, hindi ako sa phosphorus. Gikan from the sun. Okay, like this. So the hope, guys, that this oxidative phosphorylation will act as your catalyst, something like that. Catalytic process to speed up the rate of your photosynthesis chemical reaction to produce the energy-giving source, carbohydrates or the glucose specifically, plus the oxygen gas. Okay? Ganon. Then this glucose will be transported to the glycogen storage house of your glucoses, and then convert again to blah blah pyruvate, convert again to acetyl Coa, convert again to Krebs cycle, convert again to ATC, and then it will give back again this raw material CO2 H2O in your photosynthesis again. Okay, for the survival of all living organisms in the planet Earth. Any question? Okay? Nothing? Muna siya matabo sa atong process sa panginabuhi ng kalibutan na. Kimukhaon ba yung ka? Okay? You get the point? Anak siya, ha? So, now. Okay? Anawin mo guys, direct na tao. First step, photosynthesis. Step 2, the sun, the light, the chlorophyll, and the oxidative phosphorylation process. And then 2, the glucose and the oxygen. 3, glycolysis. Because glycolysis is the production of glucoses. Okay, glycolysis. Okay. 3, pyruvate. 4, acetyl Coa. 5, Krebs cycle. 6, ETC, electron transport chain. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 processes. Okay, these are called chemical processes because it involves chemical energy. This is not physical processes, chemical processes because it involves chemical reactions. Okay, you get the point, right? Yeah, entirely chemical processes. I told you, light energy to chemical energy. Okay, muna siya ang whole process. Okay, now let's deduce the different chemical formula. Okay, for this, the entire process. Okay, ganon. So, sundin mo sa... Actually, guys, kung sa imong memorization, during the understanding of the chemical formula, mag-start ka sa pinakagamay ng atom sa carbon until maabot ka sa 10. Yung buna-buna mo sa itong mga acid na dito. Ako, gana na ako sa high school. Wala, college ako nagsugod. Sa first year college ko, ako na sige pang... Wala ko nagtudol ako nagbuhat ko table. Ako may pang arrange. Ganon. Ako yung bata na, acid, base, alcohol, like that, hydrocarbon, like that. So, kani siya, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, until such time nga, tagato na ako sa library, makita na ako ipuno. Okay, mag-tabulate ko ba? Okay, ganon. So, ang akong technique, magsugod ko sa pinakagamay number atoms. So, C2, o C, CH, kasama ng CH. Ato na dito mabilong sa hydrocarbon, kaya naman tayo CH hydrocarbon, o na ang CH3 and CH4. Okay na. Sunod, C2 na yun, C2. Naman na ang hydrocarbon C2 po, C2, H6, C2, H4. Alcohol na, di ba? Ethyl, C2H5OH. Sa base na aba. Yung sa tukungitaan sa base. Okay. Di lang kung sutik, pinakalit man. This is on the spot vlog. Okay? Ang acid dapat yung C2. Muna is ang acetic acid. C2H3O2. Narila po ka sa 3. 3 carbon atoms. So, C3 na po ka. Naman kayo propane. That's why we have liquefied petroleum gas. 3 atoms of carbon is in your hydrocarbon. Okay, LPG. So, C3H8. Oh, diba? Ganon. So, napo kay kuan diri sa alcohol. Okay, na kay propanol or propyl alcohol. C3H7OH. Dilagay ka na napo kay glycerol. Okay? More na siya sa organic. Okay? Like that. And then we have also the base here na nasa carbon atoms ng base nga 3 sa dengue ko andit 2. Lisod ba ng base guys kay kasagaran mo sa base kanang uban mo may carbon. Get the point kana naman base hydroxide, mo man mga carbon kay more man siya on ionic compounds. Okay? Kay kani more man siya sa kuan molecular compound. Okay, mubalik sa chemistry. What are the 2 types of compounds? Molecular compound and ionic compound. What are the 2 classification of compounds? Organic compound and inorganic compound. Ganon. Diba? So we have the acid. O C3 na punta sa acid. Kung sa may acid na nag-C3. Kung ano to siya ang kuan, pyruvate. C3H4O3. Ano na po kadiri? Kung saan si acid na nag-start sa C4? Katuloy. C4H5. C4H6O5, sorry. This is malic acid. Okay? Malic acid is responsible for the taste of your fruit. Okay? And the color of the fruit will change from yellow to from green to yellow if you go from raw to ripe. So that is the function of your malic acid. So the more your fruits will become sour, then you have high levels of malic acid in your fruit. Okay. So anak, so C4 na po diri. So butanol. Butanol. Okay? Like that. And here also, hydrocarbon of course, butane. Until mahulot na mo, until C12. 12 atoms carbon na siya ang dudi. Decaying. Ganon. So, here, you can, di ba? Pentane. Oh, like decaying. Like that. So, decaying. Ganon. And here also, makita ko ng mga 12 ang iyang acid. Mag-start sa 12. Okay. So, kung saan ako, sa 12 acid, wala ganun kayo makitaan, mag-proceed ka sa sunod, ang say 13, say 14, say 15, say 16. But naman kayo 16 ang kuan, mga acid found in coconut tree. That is palmatic acid. Carbon 16 mo na siya, guys. Okay. Ganun. At sa maabot juga itong mga kuan, mga omega fatty acid na ang iyang number of atoms is sa carbon is 18. Muna siya ang pinaka-last, 18 atoms carbon katong mga omega fats, omega fatty acid. So, na siya 18 atoms of carbon. Okay? Like that. Yan mo na makapangkulo sa heart. Hindi sa tama ka-expect na mukha dyan sa heart, kaya na ba 18 ka po. There are 18 atoms of carbon. Okay? Get the point? Ana na to pag-memorize ang mga palangga. Tabilik juga para hot chudi mo understand ang mga chemical formula. Kaya abot namang si Kanye, hanas na kay ka. Pwede mo piyungan. Ganon. Ano ba? Like that. Ay, pag sali ka ng papakit sa libro. Diba? It will kuan ng good mag-consume ko time, anak. Okay, get the point? Dapat, ano dyan siya, completely memorized. Charot. Charot lang. Ako rin ha. Ako rin style. Okay guys, any questions so far? Nothing, right? Thank you so much for watching this cellular respiration, aerobic cellular respiration. Okay? And then next vlog, I will be doing the brain health, the central nervous system and its functions, blah, 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 so and so. And I have to introduce also some diseases that we need to avoid in order we cannot damage our nervous system. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. God bless everybody. Ganon. Diba?